Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brett.
What's up, everybody?
We are back to talk Squid Game, the challenge. This is week 2. So this was episode 6, 7, 8, and 9. Make sure you're liked and subscribed here and on TikTok. We have clips from the show and just all of our other reviews and reality TV news. Brett, I know you and I and Kyle really enjoyed the first week, and I think it really stepped up in week 2. Um, we're not going to jump ahead. We're going to go chronologically, but frankly, when we get to episode 9 and talk Circle of Trust, like that was probably the most tense episode of reality TV I watched in a while. Like that was Among Us on steroids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of savagery throughout this whole episode. I mean, all these games at this point are basically picking somebody to eliminate essentially and trying to trick them into their own elimination.
Yeah, you're really basically saving or eliminating people with your choices here. There is no more really advantages. There is no more kind of extra vote, anything. You have to kind of play your hand and reveal who you are for the most part. So, like
It's
I
no
said,
longer survival. It's like literally killing somebody
yeah,
almost.
you're literally saying goodbye. So we are going to run through chronologically here, episode 6, 7, 8, and 9, full spoilers. I'm going to do my best to give a little timestamps here for everybody too. So instead of all the individual episodes, if you are only watching one, you should be able to see in the description right on the thing and click which episode you want us to talk about. All right, Brett, we start episode 6. It is goodbye. This is where we had marbles, the picnic that led to, and much like the show itself, you are partnered up with your more than likely your closest ally. Really interesting that they had all different marble setups. Basically, you could build your own game if you wanted to draw a circle in the sand, if you wanted to use a bucket, if you wanted to play rock paper scissors. For all they care, they didn't really care how you decided the game, but you had to have a winner. And the reason I bring this up is we did have one team double eliminate, which is outrageous. Like, right, that was a crazy scenario.
That whole time they kept flashing back to them, and that one guy, 65, wasn't budging. He wanted to play a throwing game, and 399 wanted to play any other game than throwing, and he would budge. And then they finally get into the game in like the last 2 minutes, right? And then the dude misses like all his shots pretty much. They end up tied, but he was, and then she's like, "Oh, I made the first shot, so I should win." And he's like, "Nope, nope." And then yeah, like you said, they just self eliminate because idiots.
They literally could have played rock paper scissors. I mean, it's just outrageous. I mean, I got it. There's like, I wanted to end up talking to like the winners of the show. No, but like I don't want to talk to those guys, right? Like I need to know. Like, have they connected since? Did they have some kind of former beef that led this to escalate, right? Like what, how did you get to this point, right? And then that to me was like very, very interesting. Obviously we had some of the kind of through lines from last episode. I, again, most notably, as you can tell here in my tag, was 301 and 302, the mother son duel. A little matricide occurred here on Squid Game. The son won. Goodbye,
We
Granny 302.
I was wrong. I really thought that mom was going to be our old lady that beats her son and then goes to the finale. So she
Yeah,
wasn't.
Trey. Yeah, Trey.
So they a lot of people in this marbles game looked like they were all throwing the thing. Hardly anyone did anything else. But it actually led me to think, because I had to look up the rules, and I believe it just states as long the point of the game is to have it end with you having the most marbles, as long as you don't like physically harm somebody for them. So I was thinking, what if you just trick someone into playing like a throwing game where the marbles all end up sitting like at the goal at the end, and then you kind of just run up there and start grabbing all the marbles off the ground, and
Yeah,
then
the game really didn't
hey, back
matter,
to you,
right?
it's
It was
on
a
them.
facade, and everyone kind of came to, and that was the fact, I think, which maybe now, if there was ever a season 2 or an iteration of that, I think it's like people, if you were against someone you didn't like, you may be more apt to just try to pull some crap like that. They all kind of came to kind of like an honorable
Yeah,
decision, except for like we talked about 399 and 65. Very interesting, but again, very savage as far as the elimination. I mean, it cut the player pool in half. It was a very dramatic, and it really kind of accelerated these whole last set of episodes, right? Because we really were, if anyone had real main criticism I would see and have heard, It's always tough to connect with how can you connect with 400 something players, right? And you can't. So the fact is now that like when we get cut down into like the 30s, more than likely some of them are going to make it towards the end and you could be relatively invested in them. So 31 players, Brett. We had TJ set up next for the next challenge, had to be the leader. Everyone was into it except for Chad, who woke up and was upset. Again, I would let people be the leader. Like, go for it. Again, there's more higher risk than reward a lot of the times here. Yeah, you may get to pass along if you win, but if you screw something up, you're going to lose. And for this one, it ended up working out because it was the pick the order of trust, basically. You got to pick someone to save, and it went down into an iteration until there were 20 players remaining. This is where they highlighted the disparity between men and women, 22 versus 9. And frankly, I think the women made a smart alliance even before knowing what the game was. It's like, stick together. We need to even the odds. If we are really low numbers, it's going to be easy for the guys to pick us off. So honestly, I don't really see, and I don't really understand if anyone has any hate against that strategy. I think it made sense.
It does make sense, except they made it extremely obvious the fact that they're like, "Hey, girl over there in the corner, come here. We're forming a girls." They're like yelling that they were forming a girls' alliance out loud, pretty much, and doing it openly. And then once it actually came time to start picking people, like 2 or 3 of the girls were like, "Nah, I'm gonna pick a dude."
Yeah, and that's kind of like my next note is that friendship kind of ruled over gender. And now listen, at the end of the day, all the women made it. All 9 women did make the final 20. So I mean, you're only going in with an 11-9 balance in the final 20. So frankly, even though they didn't stick together and do it all in line, the strategy worked out for them, right? It did, I think, actually lead to a little bit more diverse male pool, right? Because if it had gotten to the end and just gotten to a guy, whatever guy was chosen first, probably inevitably it starts being that friend group that gets fully in. And as they were verbally saying, like, a lot of the guy groups were like, yeah, we're broken up. Like, there's like none of us left. There's like 2 in one group, like 2 in another group. Like, it did a good, the chaos led to, I think, a really diverse final 20.
Mhm.
Let's see. So people to note down. Yeah. So like I said, we could run through the numbers, but basically at the end of the day, we did end up with the 11-9 balance that brought us into episode 7. So it rode through 6 into 7. Episode 7 was friend and foe. Now, obviously, this kind of talks about the fact that like their alliances and have to kind of work together, but maybe not super working together. Um, at the end of the day, this episode really breaks down to the glass bridge, right? The glass bridge challenge should have been an easy balance challenge. I want to get your take on this, Brett. Like, do you think that if you were involved that you would have been game for the 50-50 strategy of everyone has to only guess once unless you're in like the final 3 because that's just how it works? Or would you have been more of like the Ashley? It's like, I'm not overextending myself for anyone else.
This one's tricky because at the end of the day, it depends what number you get. So
Yeah.
I think in the original show, they didn't know what Glassbridge was, so I don't think picking your number mattered. Like, you just picked one. But in this, like, people know they want a high number, and so they had the bear thing, which I thought was interesting, where you don't just get a number and that's yours. You have to give it to somebody. So
It's
you're like,
savage.
yeah. So depending what number it is, you're like, well, is this a bad or a good number? Who do I? And that affects who I give it to. So I did like that. And that TJ, he ended up getting the number 1. You want to be the leader, bro? Lead us through this one. You go first. So that
And
was
that
great.
speaks to what we were saying last week, right? Like, don't overextend yourself. You don't need to be a hero. Do not play hero ball when there's like 40 people, 30 people, 20. There's no reason. Just chill. There were people that got introduced to us this week via like confessionals that made it into, say, the final 10, even that was like, that's how they made it. I had never heard of them. I don't think most people had heard of them. They just kind of slid through. That was like a Haley, right? Like, she merged out and hadn't heard of her really. We got a lot more backstory on other people that I thought was good, and it was kind of good strategic editing. Again, I think kudos again to the production and the editing for that.
Well, like you were saying, too, do you want, so that 50-50 shot thing, that was actually a really smart strategy they came up
Very
with,
smart.
to make it fair. Because what are you going to do? I guess in the real show, I don't remember. They're like pushing the guy in front or something, or just forcing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
guy in
yeah.
front to jump. So, which
It's like
is
a
what happened.
Mario Party mini game. There's like you got to run, you got to find the path. It's a literal mini game.
I mean, this is how we got to you having an RIP 302 though. He decided that the girl behind him wasn't going to pass, and instead of sort of forcing her to do it, he just went for it and got lucky a couple times, and then not so lucky the third time.
Oh yeah, well, I got to switch because 302 is Granny, so I got to move to
Oh,
my RRP 301, who is Trey. But I like them. I like them. So Granny,
yeah.
you're out.
I was shocked to see him go. I
A
guess, you know.
sticker post. It's on the side this time, so it'll be more awkward. RIP Trey. Yeah. So TJ though, shout out TJ. Bold first step out.
He's like talking.
I think that's gonna be a TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, because he was talking himself up until he boom fall.
I'm
So,
okay.
but
How far do you think they fell?
10 feet,
Realistically,
10 feet into a foam pit, maybe. Because you got to fall far enough to clear the thing that you're falling
that
from.
little stage.
They had like a trap door. Yeah. So 10 feet
So
foam.
the TJ elimination led us out of episode 7 into episode 8, which is appropriately titled One Step Closer. So obviously we pick back up with the bridge. And this is where we talk about 278, who's Ashley, who becomes kind of a real central character, especially over the final 2 episodes of the stretch here. Ashley was like the 5th person, and she was like, nah, I'm following the safe path. I don't have to pass this dude. Rule
Mhm.
says that like that guy's got to go or someone else can go. I'm not going. I think it's going to be a real split. I think some people are going to be like, she's an a-hole. I think as I was, I was texting you about it as it was going. I was mad at her for it. I was like, just stick with the strategy, like whatever. But I guess at the end of the day, like, F everybody else. Like, right at that point, like, it is going to be a crapshoot with 20 people left or whoever the hell makes it through the damn path,
Yeah.
which ended up being 12. So, you know, I may have been being emotional. I don't really blame her. Strategy game. It's supposed to be life or death. Only
Right.
one person wins.
Well, I hated her for it, and all those people should hate her, but at the same time, I can't blame her. It's smart. However, it's not smart because now you have a target, which
Yeah.
this game, literally every game after this one is all about don't be the person that's hated because people will come for you.
But
So
you could have been a nice person and a good friend to someone, and that person takes advantage of it too. So we have both there. Again, they don't know it's coming, right? This isn't iterative like a Survivor, right? Like they know tribal's coming the next week, whatever. This game is like there is no jury. You just got to win. Like it's just which is cool. I like it. I mean, I love the voting. I like it, and they've had that in this game. But as we see as it goes on, the voting matters less. That the pick your friend one a few episodes back, that was like the ultimate like social kind of the antithesis of like my theory of like make this like stay as a loner and like whatever, don't bother with anybody. Because if you literally no one knew who you were, like you had a shot of just not getting picked in there, and like 11 people got eliminated because of that. So
right,
there
just
is a level of balance you have to play. So it's like be nice to people, but don't win the challenge. Like
yeah, make a few people think that you're their number one, so they'll save you. So
yeah, like TJ like took care of my like hardcore. Like he was like you said, he got given number one, but he gave her the last pick. So like
mhm.
she was people were asking her which block to pick. It's like it was crazy. It was a crazy scenario there. And like I mean, if
she's
my
yeah.
if she were to make it and win, like she's gotta send TJ some cash.
I think she's just as cutthroat as Ashley.
Oh, she is for
All
sure,
these
dude. We
like
see what happens when we get to the circle.
everyone loves her, but she like in her confessionals and through her moves, she's just like making savage moves, or she's like, oh, I don't even like TJ, but then he's like her number one, or she's his number one for some reason.
One shout out before we move on from the bridge. It was savage, but our buddy James lost on the final jump 269. Got to the final one and let my say right. He jumped and gone.
I was wondering, what if you just ran across the bridge as fast as you could,
Yeah,
or
but like what would
the
the
last
guards
square?
come and like throw him off?
At least that last square, if you just were like just ran right over it to the platform.
Tap tap. Like it's funny.
What if
I
you just
say it was
jumped?
an accident.
I'd have to see how far it was, but what if you just skipped the last 2 blocks and just jumped over them? Just did a broad jump.
What I think your best bet there, if you're going to try to play that card, is like just kind of like seem nervous, kind of almost like fall forward and just plant your foot on the crack between them, and then just like fall forward, and then like one's gonna drop, and then see if they'll probably still throw you out, but like whatever, like you shoot your shot. You don't want to do 50-50, but like I said, 12 people make it through there. Um, a little shout out. They were hyping up Perna, who survived. But we did lose Sentimental, the Irish dad, 254. We talked about the special needs daughter and all like that. It was a shame, but he did not survive the bridge, just like Gandalf.
Pour out a Guinness.
We will. Okay, so we roll in, Brett, to end episode 8 is the dice game. At least the beginning of yeah, actually most of the whole full dice game, and then we get the decision aftermath in 9. Basically the triangle rope. You can roll the dice. You have to decide if your dice is an eliminator or a self-eliminator. If it lands on 6, whatever you picked happens. Everything else is nothing. And Mai just like kicks it off, and she's like, screw you, Ashley. You didn't want to help on the bridge, and I'm coming for you. Shoots a blank. Everyone else picks themselves for the first round, except for Ashley, who shoots it back at Mai, both unsuccessful shots. But we lost fan favorite Perna, or at least group favorite Perna, the breakdancing dude. Everyone liked Perna. He seemed like a nice guy.
He was the last Gambu gang too.
Yeah, Gambu gang, R.I.P. I'm running out of post-it notes here, but we'll get a shout out. Hallie, she was out as well. And then this was probably, again, if you were talking about people that they highlighted pretty continuously, especially over this week, Chad. Chad was given this speech like he was gonna just call another name, which frankly, I think if you get to this like second go around like that, I'm not picking myself again. I'm sorry. Like I was honorable once, like whatever. Like I'll take my shot with all of you picking me every time. Then if you get that mad at me, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Like a lot of you are still gonna try to play this honorable card. And frankly, when you're that far ahead that into the game, like that's really weird. I'm telling you, Brett, I would not have picked myself once. Let people get mad at me. I'm not picking myself, right? Like, I don't know.
That's where it gets interesting, is because like especially when there's still 3 people left to leave. If you just, I mean, no one even voted for Mai after she did it, but if I were to just call out somebody, I mean, they'll call out me, but is everyone else going to call out me too? So that's risky because I don't want to just have every person's shot go at me for the next, because then you're definitely a goner at that point. But like you said, after 2 people are already dead and it comes back to me, I'm probably going to say someone else's name. And then I don't know how they determine who gets the dice next, but whoever's name
it was just in a circle, I think.
Oh, I was gonna whoever. Well, then I'm gonna call out the person last in the circle so that they don't get a chance to say my name, and then hopefully the person next doesn't say me because I said
exactly what you should do. It should, at that point, it's not even personal. Game of chance. Sorry guys. And then if they were mad at you after, you literally can logically say, look, like
you just
I don't
went
like my odds not rolling a 6 twice in a row. I know that might sound crazy to you guys, but like I it's better than not being in the game. So that's kind of where episode 8 cuts out. Episode 9, Circle of Trust, and we will get to the circle pretty quickly. But really the only stuff leading into the Circle of Trust is just the aftermath of Mai's decision. Basically the decision to take a shot at Ashley early on in that game. I thought it was a little bit overblown drama because I think, frankly, what Ashley was doing jeopardized a lot more people than what Mai was doing in that game. So I was a little surprised that people seem to be more upset at Mai. Maybe it's just like recency bias, but that was like the major drama leading into Circle of Trust.
I guess, yeah, Mai sort of went against the grain with the dice thing, but Ashley deserved it, right? Because they all just forgave her for basically not following the rules they had set up. Because then as soon as back in the bridge, as soon as she did her 50-50 because Trey was dead, she's like, all right, number 6, it's your turn, buddy. And no one forced her to do what Trey did. But yeah.
Circle of Trust game, Brett, was Awesome. Circle of trust basically involved you getting a blind gift given to you, right? And then you were then had to choose someone to give that to. They had to guess who gave it to them. If they guess correctly, they're safe. If they guess incorrectly, they're out. So obviously a big disadvantage to get picked early on too, right? Because it's like crap. Like there's a lot of people to choose from here.
which means
Um,
there's more options for them to pick of
yeah,
the person they gave them the gift.
I made a quick blind side and picked Roland. Roland was a sweet dude and just did not think that Mai, who braided his hair, would eliminate him. He picked 51 incorrectly and was gone. Hallie picks Amanda, number 19. She guesses 451 incorrectly, also gone. So two quick eliminations there. Um, 429 picks Mai, and she susses him out. So she gets the first successful, suss out. She said that he was nervously looking around too much. So I thought like that was going to be like the only person to guess right. And I was definitely wrong there. Like there was definitely some good gameplay that continued. Uh, Number 51, Rose, gets eliminated. She also gets sussed out. So it was like, whoa, what a swing. Like, what a quick swing here. But I like that every round, no matter what, someone was going home. Like, yeah, we are getting down to three people here. Like, this is what it is. And what were there any highlights for you? I know there's a few more after that. Phil getting himself through, picking Hallie. She says Mai. She guessed wrong. Like the Ashley pick of Philip and him sussing her out. Like, what was your highlight?
Yeah, I mean, Phil, he's a killer, man. He killed this game. He not only got out Rose, he got out whoever the second person was by guessing them, and then he was the one that gave the gift at the end. And they didn't even show us who was giving the gift, so we didn't know. We had to guess,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't have guessed them either because the redhead girl she said that Mai and 16 were both shaking, and then Phil was cool, calm, and collected, and it was
yeah,
him that gave.
Hallie. Yeah,
Yeah,
Phil picked Hallie. You said we had to find out, like, and thing. And also interesting is that Mai would not fess up to the decision, her Roland decision, and she was stuttering. So, like, honestly, if it's like any way where it's like a 2 versus 1 situation, I don't think Mai really has a shot with those two dudes. I have a feeling that they would both try to get her out just based
yeah.
upon how the last, say, 2.5 competitions have gone.
They're tight. Those two guys. So yeah, I don't think they'll betray each other. So we'll see what happens. But yeah.
Final three, Brett. Number 16, Sam. Number 287, Mai, and number 451, Phil. This is a crazy final three. Like the crazy savagery from like 20 to 12 to 9 to 3, how quick that happened over like 2 episodes. Like the game really accelerated going into this finale next week. I think what is it? Is it only 1 episode next week or is it two? I didn't see on the list. It's like
Only
one or
three
two. If anyone
left.
knows, let
There's
us know.
two.
Comment wise, like obviously comment about like the competitions, like the decisions we're debating on too. Like let us know and
I
we'll
hope
do
it's
it.
one like 90-minute episode.
That would be good. Like a nice finale episode, like nice length. You can definitely get two competitions because there's not going to be like a in between challenge. You know what I mean for this one to kind of like do those mini like chisel downs. Like there's only three people,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So one competition eliminates one, the other competition eliminates one. We have a winner.
Yeah. I
So
guess what? So we're gonna get rid of the third person, and then it'll just be a showdown one
it's
v
just a
one.
showdown. It looked like it showed a big like triangle shaped fancy dinner for the final three. And they showed the three shapes. I can almost see this being kind of like a rock, paper, scissors in a respect almost. We've seen that in reality shows with kind of final threes, final fours. And I'm not sure what the head to head is. We know that in the series it was the Squid Game, but it's not going to be a physical altercation more than likely. So they kind of tease this light up floor and looks like a little safe in the middle. So probably some kind of puzzle combination type thing, knowledge puzzle thing. I'm assuming to win the game. Any chance maybe the old competitors vote
Ooh,
like a big jury, like a 400-person vote, like that'd be kind of nuts.
that'd be interesting.
Something like that. Let us know your theories. If you actually know, don't tell us. We don't want to know. But we will be back next week. It should be the final week of Squid Games. Make sure you like and subscribe here because we're covering everything and anything reality TV competition shows like The Challenge, like Survivor, Amazing Race, kind of the more relationship based shows, Love Island, the 90 Day Fiance type things, all the Netflix based ones, Love is Blind, and all that kind of junk. So we got everything covered for you. So make sure you like, subscribe here and on TikTok. But
You know what they should do for the final?
what?
Hall brawl. Hall brawl.
Yeah, Hall Brawl. Yeah.
Yeah, hall
You could
brawl.
have Granny versus Trey in the Hall Brawl. Like that totally would have worked out. But for myself, Brett, everyone else here at the Reality Guys, thank you for watching. Peace.